Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome. This is your host, Sir Kaya Redford, and boy, oh boy, do I have an incredible interview coming up, a life-changing, a life-transforming interview with the icon of icons. I would call him the GOAT. There's only one GOAT. The GOAT of motivational, of inspirational, of transformational speaking. So again, we are here. Sir Kaya Redford with the LA Tribune. The Los Angeles Tribune is one of the oldest newspapers, game changer, pioneering company, and a brand that is literally disrupting and changing and transforming what media means to the world today. Would you agree that there's a lot of things that need to change in this world? I'm sure we would agree, right? And they are an incredible company. So we have a TV show powered by the Los Angeles Tribune called the Top Leaders Forum TV show, unlocking the success secrets of the world's top leaders. And you'll be meeting one of them today. This week, we have, as you've been tuned in, the Leadership Week. Lead your life, lead your business. I want to give a huge shout out. None of us would be here without the incredible work and the pioneering work of our CEO of the LA Tribune, Mo Rock, and also our incredible editor-in-chief, who you'll meet in just a minute, Ava Manuel. Also an incredible team. We have Alicia Magnus Lewis, we have Jim Miller, we have Rex Sykes, and so many more. And what does the LA Tribune represent? It is changing the status quo. Positivity, solutions. We all agree we need to stop focusing on problems in the world. We need to bring solutions and change. So with that, I would like to share with you what the topic we're going to get in today with this icon, the GOAT of GOATs. And that is how to increase your presentation skills so that you can take it all the way to the bank, right? This is going to be huge for you as leaders, as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, as influencers. And who is the icon I am so excited to introduce? The one and the only Les Brown. Icon, GOAT of speakers worldwide. He is going to be getting into the topics of the secrets of speaking with power, with passion, how to make money with your story, the art of speaking, how to sell and earn millions from the stage. And why am I doing this interview? Well, not only I can say that he's a dear friend. Many years ago, he had me on his show, his radio show, and he said, you know, one day I'm excited to share the stage with you, Kaya. And he said, you have greatness in you. And, you know, have you ever felt like someone really sees you? Someone touches your heart on such a deep level, like you have that kindred spirit. I am so honored to have that with Les Brown. And, you know, whenever I call him, he picks up his phone, which is shocking for someone as busy as he is, traveling so much. So who am I in this? I'm a success coach for Fortune 500 companies, creator of Top Producers Global. For over 20 years now, we've been training the #1 offices and the #1 agents in real estate, mortgage, financial services, and network marketing. And I'm so excited to bring Les Brown to this conversation because when it comes to speaking, inspiring, motivating, and transforming, he is the GOAT, the legend, the icon, the voice of this generation. I don't say this lightly. I believe in the world of inspirational, transformational speakers, there is a voice of the generation. And I think most people agree that voice for our generation is Mr. Les Brown. He's the recipient of the Legends and Lifetime Achievement Award from the LA Tribune. He has done so many things in as far as working with companies, small businesses, hundreds of leaders and influencers he's interviewed over the years. We all have heard that success leaves clues. He's studied the most successful people for decades, and he's garnered the insights, and he's giving those insights to you and us. He also is, he's been literally spoken at packed out football stadiums for 80,000 people. Imagine speaking to 80,000 people live, right? Energizing, his compelling life stories, his impact on the world. He never tires. He never stops. He is a force of nature. And I would like to say a force of the universe. And if you believe in a higher power, he's also a force of God. He is on YouTube with tens of thousands of people tuning in live every single week. He's got tens of thousands of people watching him live on Facebook as well. He is has won a Chicago area Emmy for his work in fundraising. He's traveling all over the world, motivating, inspiring people. And one of the biggest things, and one of the topics I'd like to get into today, yes, it is about speaking and taking it all the way to the bank, making money, selling your products and services. But I also want to really get to him in the context of how does he connect? How does he connect so deeply with people and straight from the heart? And from that place, he is able to help people. He also has a training coming up, which is actually just in a few weeks away, which is going to be Speak with Power and Passion Training, May 31st to June 2nd in Atlanta, Georgia. I have friends going. I'm going to be there. And he is a master trainer. He is a master trainer, right? So the trainer of trainers. He has so much more. Voted by Toastmaster, voted him as the top 5. I consider him number 1. Top 5 outstanding speakers worldwide. If you've heard of It's Not Over Until I Win, if you've heard of You Gotta Be Hungry, if you've heard his stories about I'm the one, you're the one, I so admire him. He has A-list actors like Denzel Washington, right? The movers and shakers of this world that are quoting him on a daily basis. And I know he has so much to share. Let's please bring up, with a huge round of applause, let's bring the one, the goat of goats, Mr. Les Brown, to the stage.
Wow. I've never had an introduction like that. You make me feel like I'm a legend in my own mind.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Les,
Sakaya,
I'm so excited to have you here. Please do share, what it means for you to do what you do on a daily basis.
I'm so glad you asked me that question. Someone asked me, how do you look so young at 79? And I remember, Sakaya, I used to think people in their 40s were old. Now that I'm 79, I feel like I served at the Lord's Supper. But I got a lot of good tips. Okay. And I believe that when we're born, we favor our parents. But as we live, we begin to favor the life that we're living. And I believe that people should live a life that they love, and that life will love them back, a life that will allow them to live a life of contribution. Einstein was asked the question, what is the purpose or the meaning of mankind? And he said, man was created for the sake of mankind. We were created by the Creator to create, to serve. The greatest among you will be your servant. And I think when we live a servant-driven life, we have the opportunity to be able to impact our own lives, our family members, and people around the globe, and generations yet unborn. So I'm excited about what I do, and I look forward to it every day.
Oh my gosh. And you look so amazing, Les. You look like you're like barely over 40. Look at you. Your skin looks impeccable. You must be doing something on a daily basis. And I know probably what that is just sharing your love and your light and your gifts to the world. So I have a quick question for you. First question, I would like to know, you have so many impactful experiences and stories. What would you say is the biggest turning point, your biggest quantum leap, a challenge or an adversity you faced in your life that you feel was the single biggest turning point in your life to put you on the trajectory that you've now been on for so many years and changing the world?
I'm glad you asked that question, because when I think about you and the Los Angeles Tribune and the work that you've been doing and helping people to begin to get a different narrative for themselves about the life that they're living, and how people live their lives, and we are aware of this, is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And a turning point for me, when you think about, I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with my twin brother in Miami, Florida. Then we became foster kids, and ultimately we became adopted. But when I was in the 5th grade, I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade and failed again in the 8th grade. But I had this high school teacher, Mr. Leroy Washington, and his personality, just like your personality. When I heard you speak for the first time, it gave me goosebumps, because he's a kind of guy that always saw people. You know, there's a line in scripture where Jesus went to a town and a lady said, "Lord, have mercy." She was physically challenged. And the next line said, he saw her. And I was in this instructor's room, and he said, "Young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me." And I said, "Sir, I can't do that." I said, "Why not?" "I'm not one of your students. I'm just here looking for MacArthur Stevens." He said, "Do what I'm asking you to do anyhow." And I said, "Sir, I can't do it." And the children in that classroom, they started laughing, saying, "He's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart, but he's DT." And he asked, "What's DT?" "He's the dumb twin." And they started laughing at me. And he looked at me for a response. And I said, "I am, sir." And he came from behind his desk and he said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Do you hear me?" I was startled. There's a saying that, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And so what he did on that day is what you do every day with the top performers that you're working with in corporations, with the people that you are working with that's in sales or real estate or finance, that when they encounter customers, something happens. There's an experience that's created. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to go back to where it was. And so what Mr. Washington did for me on that day, he disrupted my story. Every time you come on, every time you take the stage and grab a microphone, something happens. You distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract people from their current story. And as they listen to the knowledge and the skills that you've developed over the years, you dismantle their current belief system about themselves, and you inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. This is the greater work that I think that we were called to do, that we were born and preserved for such a time as this. And the Los Angeles Times and the Los Angeles Tribune and you have been doing this for years. And I'm just very grateful for you, and say thankful for the opportunity to be able to talk with you now.
That's amazing. You know, in our technology, neuroscience, and neuro-linguistic programming, we're always talking about pattern interrupts. So that was a massive pattern interrupt, right? And then we always talk about as well being a positive interruption in someone's life. Quick question. How does someone, when you met me and I was on your show, you said you have greatness in you. And honestly, I was just barely discovering my gifts and my talents. And I know you share this with so many people. How does someone become their own best version? How does someone become a superhero? I see you, Les, like a superhero in this world. How does someone tap into their superhero?
It happens by virtue of what you're doing right now. That people, the way that we see ourselves is a result of the things that we're exposed to. I used to go to work with my mother on Miami Beach. She worked for wealthy parents, wealthy families. And so one of the parents of the kids that I played with, named David, I heard his father say to him, "David, if you want to be successful, watch wealthy people and do what they do." and watch poor people and don't do what they do.
Mm.
I took note of that. And so he gave David a set of cassettes. That shows you how old I am. A set of cassettes. And it was Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale, the strangest secret in the world. And when he left, David took those cassettes and threw them in the trash can. I said, David, why are you doing this? Your father's going to ask you questions about that. He said, no, he's not. He's going to forget about it. And when the old man goes, he said, I'm going to get everything anyhow. So I said, can I listen to them? And he said, yes. So I got him out of the wastebasket, but I didn't have a cassette tape player. And so he said, when you come to work with your mother, you can listen in my father's office. I said, okay, thank you. And that began to change my programming. Remind you, as I think about myself, I was born in the segregated South. It very, very oppressive. A culture that is designed to dismiss you, to destroy your sense of self, and to deny you. And so that's happening 24/7. And so by listening to those messages on a regular basis, you can't tell me people listening to you on a regular basis that their lives are not changing. I know that it will happen because it happened to me. By listening to those messages, it disrupted my current thinking and got me out of my history, and it forced me to live out of my imagination. There's a scripture that says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. And what, unfortunately, our school system, how can you have a school system and there are no classes on self-esteem or how to dream? We're a free enterprise country, the greatest country on the planet, but we're not teaching our kids early on, like that people in China are doing, how to become entrepreneurs. So we have to take it on ourselves to take responsibility for what we want to create with our lives. Abraham Lincoln said, my future is bright. And they asked him, how do you know that? And he said, because I'm going to create it. So what you have been doing is teaching people, top performers and everyday people, those on top and those who want to get there, how to begin to create the life that they can feel good about.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Les, for, you are always uplifting. You're the leader of leaders. I'm curious. I know we're going to get into the topic today extensively on how to increase your presentation skills so you can take it to the bank. That's going to be the main focus. With that being said, I notice a lot of people that we coach and we train, these salespeople, struggle with staying consistent. So if you don't mind, before we get into the presentation skills to sell and take it to the bank, how do salespeople stay motivated and consistent? Because what we find is, especially in real estate, mortgage, financial service, and network marketing, they all know what they need to do. And that's kind of what we focus on. You all know what you need to do. You're just not doing it. And you've had numerous decades of being at the very top in speaking and transforming the world. How have you stayed consistent? How have you stayed motivated for all these years? And how do you influence? What message can you share with salespeople to do the same thing?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I do a training for salespeople. You know what it's called? Focus on the seller. You have to be engaged continuously on self-development. If you lighten up, if you back up, if you're not disciplined to do it consistently, it won't serve you. The world's greatest pianist said, if I miss a week of practice, I know it. If I miss 2 weeks, the critics know it. And if I miss 3 weeks, my audience knows it. Many people never achieve their goals and never consistently perform at a top level because, as Og Mandino said in the book called The University of Success, he said that most people fall short of their dreams and their goals and are inconsistent in pursuit of the things they want to create, because you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are, because they become sidetracked by secondary activity. My mother had a sign on her mirror, and we moved a lot in Liberty City and Overtown in Miami. And the sign read, and life is lived going forward, but you learn from it looking back. And I didn't understand coming up. Why did you always put that sign up there, Mama? And the sign read, Lord, help me keep my long nose out of other people's business. That in order to be a consistent top performer, what you do on a daily basis in your personal time will show up in your public performance. Every day I have a ritual. Every day when I get up, I have affirmations that I say to myself, Lord, whatever I face today, together, you and I can handle it. You're talking to somebody who is the recipient of Cancer Centers of America Award of 4th stage cancer for 39 years, 4th stage prostate cancer. I had 238 radiation seed implants because of the size of the tumor. No one has ever had that. But what has kept me here is my willingness to focus on me, to make my health a priority. I read something the other day that said, a man with his health has 1,000 dreams, but a man without his health has only one. So you have to prioritize you. You've got to focus on you every day. When I get up, every day, moment to moment, I'm conscious of what I'm saying to myself and the thoughts that I'm entertaining and who I'm going to interact with. When I get up in the morning, I ask myself a question that Steve Jobs started asking. If this was the last day that I will have on earth today, because I remember being with Frank Sinatra in Las Vegas, my former wife, Gladys Knight, and I heard him say to a young man next to Gladys, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so each day when I get up, Sakaya, I ask myself the question, if this was my last day on earth, what I'm going to do, would I make that a priority? If this was my last day on earth, I would still meet with you because I'm only doing things that's moving me in the direction of living a life that will outlive me, of living a life that will turn a better world over to my children, my grandchildren, and my 4 great-grandsons. And if you are living from a place of integrity, being authentic, living from a place of responsibility, George Bernard Shaw said, the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. And if we move from that place, the theme that drives the Los Angeles Tribune, the themes that drive you having values that I'm going to live a life that matters. Man, I just saw 2 weeks ago the gravesite of my birth father. Mind you, we were giving up to foster care in Miami, my twin brother and I, when we were born. And they showed me all of the various Randolph, my father's part of the family, Randolph. They showed me all of their tombstones. So I said, my father, his name's Oliver Randolph. Where's his tombstone? So they took me past all the other Randolph tombstones and they pointed on the ground, a flat surface. I said, where's his tombstone? Oh, he doesn't have one. You see that wire there, that hanger that's in the ground? Yes, look at the paper on there. It said Oliver Randolph. Are you kidding me? My birth father, he lived a life that did not matter. Most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. But on the other hand, my birth mother, Dorothy Bell Rucker, I come to find out she was a motivational speaker, and she spoke with Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt. And her mother, my grandmother, Beulah Rucker, they have the Beulah Rucker Museum. She was a motivational speaker. Now, mind you, my book is entitled, You Gotta Be Hungry. And they said my grandmother was hungry to learn. She was a sharecropper. And right after slavery, they had no resources to go anywhere. So she worked on this farm, but she had a hunger to learn, and she taught herself to read from the newspaper that was used to insulate the cabin where they lived after slavery. This thing called life, you can't make this stuff up. Woo!
Les, you connect people, and thank you for always sharing direct, straight from your heart, all your incredible, insights, wisdom, and turning points. You share and you connect with people on an emotional level like nobody does, and nobody. I've never seen anybody do it to that level. Is that something? Do you believe that you have an innate quality that you are born with? Do you believe that this warmth, this infectious smile, this charisma, this touching people's hearts, connecting so deep with them to a point where people weep and cry and jump with joy when they hear you speak? Do you believe that can be taught? Do you believe you're born with it? Is it a combination of both? How does someone do that?
Sakaya, all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. I remember spending the day with Maya Angelou, and I said to her, "You're a gifted communicator." She said, "Mr. Brown," she's very formal, "I don't like it when people say that." And I asked her, "Why not?" "You are." She said, "No, show me a gifted heart surgeon." Whoa, drop the mic. And so, two brothers that our birth mother raised, they say to me, "You never saw her. She raised us. You speak, we don't speak." And the reason they don't speak is because they didn't put in the time and the effort to do what you do and the people that are listening. There's a saying that I believe in. Wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. All of us, for the first time in the history of the world, all of us have available to us at our fingertips, our telephone, information. You can learn anything. There are people now who are intimidated by artificial intelligence because it's going to replace over 350 million jobs that are repetitive jobs. But I came along doing Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Oh, behave. Artificial intelligence is a scraper. But we were created by the creator to create. As I said earlier, we can create. There are things that you've experienced. There are things that you've seen that artificial intelligence can't reach, can't touch the irreducible essence of who you are. And so this is a time, new markets, new industries are being created. And the people who are going to capitalize on that are the people who continue to learn. This is what your program is all about. Something Robert Schuller said, you either expand or you are expendable. Wow. And most people stop growing. Most people stop investing in themselves. Most people are programmed to be consumers of entertainment rather than information that can expand their horizons.
Wow. I so love it. You are literally putting us all in a position of empowerment, of cause. We are the cause. So like it's the moment we wake up and we make that decision to learn and to grow, we can become anything we want to be. And I think your whole life is a testament to that. I had a client, he's the #1 clothier voted by American Express. And he has 6 or 7 different stores all around the US. He dresses all the A-list actors at the Oscars and the Emmys. And he hired me to come and coach one of the offices. And he said, help this guy because, his sales are not quite what the rest of the sales are. And then when I met that person and I asked him about his results, he said, let me just tell you something. I said, sure. And he referred to Art. Art is the owner of this bespoke suit clothing company. He says, I'm not like Art. Art is a 1 in a million. And I heard that, where he was comparing someone else's greatness and basically saying, I'm not as great as that. I heard that, and I asked, because I had you in my mind, Les, when you're saying, look, this is something that anybody can learn to do. I said, question for you. Do you believe that Art came out of the womb as Mr. Charisma? Do you believe he was born with all of these skills? I mean, he came from Chile to America with 50 bucks in his pocket. He was broke for many years. He went and studied NLP, neuroscience. He learned with Brian Tracy and all these other, yourself. He learned from you, Les, and he became, he made himself into who he is today. So I truly believe, I agree that my experience is charisma, presence can be learned. So
Yeah, you know, Earl Nightingale said something I love. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it.
only the successful will admit it. So let's get into some tools, some strategies, how to increase your presentation skills and your presentation power so you can take it to the bank. What would you say are maybe the top 1 or 2 or 3 best secrets on how to do that, so that people, the real estate, the mortgage, the financial services, network marketers, the salespeople can actually take some of these things? And of course, there's a deep dive that they're going to learn. Again, I want to give an incredible invite to all of you. Speak with Power and Passion training is happening May 31st to June 2nd in Atlanta with the one and the only, the GOAT, Les Brown, who is going to be, and it's a very small group. I'm saying probably under 30 people. It is a private mastermind where you'll literally be getting one-on-one coaching with Les. Like Les will be literally coaching you on your story and how you speak. So it's an incredible opportunity. I have friends that are going. I'm going to be there with them. So in light of that, what is something you can share today, Les, on how can people increase their presentation power so they can take it to the bank?
Well, first of all, you know, you said, and I love this, how to increase your presentation power and take it to the bank. I earned my first million in 3 years with cassette tapes. This is before LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and all the other platforms that we have. Now people can do that in a fraction of the time, and we're going to share that with them. We teach 3-dimensional storytelling. And what I mean by that when you speak, people are asking some questions. Number one, who are you? Because people listen to people that they know and they like and they trust. What do you have? You know, that question of what's in it for me? What you got for me? All right. And the third thing is, can I believe you? And they're listening to find out if you believe it. So what we teach people in this intensive class of how to distract, dispute, and inspire, how to use their passion, how to speak from their heart, and how to deliver strategically their story so that the people in the audience can see themselves in their story and they can take them to a place in themselves that they can't go by themselves. See, we're taught that you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. But if you know how to do 3-dimensional storytelling, as we're going to train and teach you, you'll learn how to create the thirst where they want to drink. That's the key in speaking. You create the thirst. You create a demand for what you do. And so that it's not just about marketing and it's about branding. It's about you. You are the money. You are the bank. And once people know that and focus on developing themselves, I like something that Abraham Lincoln said, if I have 6 hours to chop a tree down, he said, I'll just spend about 3 hours sharpening my axe. That most people never take the time because they get caught up in the distractions of life, things that they can't do anything about, things that don't affect their ability to feed themselves or provide transportation for themselves or provide for their families. A lot of people worried about who's going to be in the White House. I'm worried about who's going to be in my house. Am I showing up?
Oh, wow.
Am I doing what I'm supposed to do?
Right.
So that I am living a life of impact. Like I'm 79. I'm not looking for my children to take care of me. You know, they have something now, a new phenomenon called hospice wives. Guys who spend most of their lives living recklessly, and then they marry a woman about 15 or 10 years younger than them to take care of them. Hospice wives. No. I believe take care of the old man in you and the old woman in you. Take care of yourself. Prioritize you, because you are all you've got. If you're not functioning, if you don't have your right mind, if you don't have your health, and you allowing yourself to become a volunteer victim, you're volunteering to put yourself in a position where you can't take care of yourself. No. I'm not even looking for my children to take care of me. I'm always keeping. I tell people, I was working with some folks the other day in my age category, and they asked me, why are you working so much? I asked them, I said, why aren't you working? They said, oh, I've lived my life. Oh, I said, oh, you have? I said, I didn't know people who are taking a dirt nap have the ability to speak on the telephone or do Zooms. Are you serious? You still got a pulse. You're still breathing. If you don't use your mind, you will lose your mind. I'm not looking for anybody to wipe my behind. I got children. One will write a rap song about it. Another one will pray for it. But you don't wipe it. No. And y'all was just say, I'm not built for that. No.
I so love what you're sharing, Les, because we break down in neuroscience in our trainings, neuro-linguistic program, we break down that neuro is the neurology, the mindset. The next one, linguistic language, is the effective communication. I want to actually touch on all three. I want you to give your insights, your wisdom on all three. And the last one, programming, which we believe is the thing that really leads to action or inaction. So you're touching on a very powerful thing, which is the mindset. For someone that is in maybe real estate, mortgage, financial services, network marketing, a person who's a salesperson, what would be the mindset that you believe, having gathered so much wisdom, coaching and training people for so many decades and seeing the patterns, what would you say is the something that they need to let go of or transform, break through? And what would you say is the essential mindset for them to be a top producer in their industry as a salesperson?
They have to let go of their belief about themselves. Let me give you an example. I had to do this. I was at a convention, a medical convention in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I saw these signs. I'd already spoke for this major pharmaceutical company. And the sign said the danger zone. So after I spoke, I was seated next to the CEO. And I teach speakers, never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience needs to hear or want to hear. We've been governed by the Dale Carnegie course, which is a great course. And they teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So I asked the CEO, I said, what is the danger zone about? He said, well, we're going to teach and train doctors how to communicate with their patients so that they can let their patients know if they don't take their medication, they can have a heart attack or aneurysm or stroke. That's why it's the danger zone. So I asked him, do you have hypertension? He said, yes, I do. Why do you take your medication? He said, because I want to live. Then why are you waging a fear-based campaign, teaching doctors how to instill fear in their patients? He asked me, can you train doctors? I said, absolutely. I was the only one there that wasn't a doctor, but because how I presented myself, I got the contract, 35 speaking engagements to doctors around the United States and Switzerland, $640,000 in 1 month. I know what I'm talking about. That how you present yourself, who you are behind the words are far more important than the words that you speak. People are looking at you. This is why you have to work on yourself, because they want to know, do you believe this? Because at the end of the day, they don't buy from you, they buy into you.
I had a life-threatening situation. I had an aneurysm. It's interesting you bring this up, Les. I had open heart surgery, in 2014. So I actually have the zipper. Most people look at me and they go, you look like, a fitness guy. Like, how is that even possible? I'm 51 now, but at 41, I had an ascending aortic aneurysm, which is a swelling of the artery above my heart, which is how Albert Einstein died, Lucille Ball, and John Ritter died. And I had a terrible experience, Les, at the hospital with exactly what you're saying. I love and admire the doctor, and we become friends. He's going to be part of my book. But at the time, I don't know if it was just his experience and his wisdom. He just told me before the surgery, he says, it's going to be very difficult for you. And I just want you to know, Kaya, you are going to go through a depression after the surgery. And I don't want to take too much time with that because I want to get into you sharing more about your insights, Les. But suffice to say, I went through a massive depression after. And it was interesting. Right before doing the surgery, the nurse came in, or someone came in with all the paperwork, right? The waivers. And she literally gives me the paperwork as I'm about to be in an hour or 2 hours carted off to open heart surgery, which some people don't even make it out of that surgery. She gives me the papers and she says, all right, well, sign your life away. And I thought, the lack of sensitivity. Do they even know what they're saying to these patients? And then what you're saying is installing fear. I totally resonate with that. And that's something that
Let me say something what my
glad
doctor did. Yeah, I gotta break this to you. My doctor said, Dr. Alfred Golson, very brilliant oncologist. He said, Mr. Brown, I've got some bad news for you. I said, what is it, sir? He said, you have prostate cancer. He said, your PSA is 2,400. I asked, what does that mean? He said, 1 to 4 is normal. Your PSA is 2,400. That's prostate specific antigen. I asked, is there anything else? He said, yes. He said, the cancer is metastasized to 7 areas of your body. I said, whoa. He said, did you hear what I said? I said, yes. I said, 7 is my lucky number. I was born February the 17th. I'm one of 7 children. Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. Naaman dipped himself in the river Jordan 7 times. 7 is my lucky number. I said, is there anything else? He said, yes. I said, what is it? He said, you're ugly too.
Oh my God.
This is serious. And then he said, but you got this. I never tell my patients they're terminally ill. What I say is that my knowledge, my abilities, and my skills have terminated. I determine the diagnosis. You and God determine the prognosis.
Yes.
You got a fight on your hands. I've heard you say life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. You got the fight of your life, Mr. Brown, but you got this. Whoa.
Wow.
I left there, Sakaya, not with fear, false evidence appearing real, but with faith, finding answers in the hard. I got this.
I got this.
And so, yes. And so what we have to do every day is speak to ourselves. Studies indicate that when we have a goal or a challenge before us, 87% of our self-talk, because of our conditioning, because our environment, because of the people around us, is negative. But we have the power to change that self-explanatory style, to change that story, to say to ourselves and stand up to ourselves, I got this. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, shut up, because we've been conditioned to be practical and logical and realistic. I didn't do this for 14 years, Sakaya, because I said, I don't have a college education. How can I compete with people who have PhDs and MBAs and years of corporate experience that I don't have? I was being practical and logical and realistic. And then I heard a guy say, sometimes in life, you've got to be unreasonable. The people who make it in life are unreasonable. For years, man walked and rode the backs of animals because logical, practical thinking pervaded the planet, saying if God wanted man to fly, he'd given him wings. You can't fly. But The Wright brothers, even though their father was a minister and gave a sermon about that, they were unreasonable. They were willing to test it.
Mm.
The people
Wow.
that are listening to us now, I'm saying to you, and I know what I'm talking about, you've got greatness in you. You don't know enough about yourself to count yourself out. Remember that play, Lion King? Simba, you are more than that which you have become. I remember a guy that I paid. He's a high-ranking corporate executive in Ohio. And I paid him to coach me on how to speak to corporations. At the end of the training, he said, I won't hire you. I said, why? He said, you're a nice guy. You're funny. You got personality. But you think I got a PhD and an MBA. You think I'm working this job 60 to 80 hours a week? And the information I gave you, you're going to earn more in 1 hour than I'm making a whole month? He said, if that were in fact possible, I'll be doing it. You ought to give up this idea and go back to being the disc jockey that you were.
Mm.
And his wife said to me years later, when I came to speak in Cleveland and I was invited by the Chamber of Commerce, she said, when we watched you get in the car with your mentor, Mike Williams, I asked him the question, he respects you, Ed. He loves you. Do you believe he's going to listen to you? And he said, no. And she was shocked. Why not? And he said, because he doesn't know enough to know he can't do it.
Wow.
According to the laws of aerodynamics, a bumblebee isn't supposed to fly. It's not supposed to be able to be held up by its little puny wings, but the bumblebee doesn't know it. Sometimes when you're looking at your goals and dreams, judge not according to appearances. Sometimes you've got to realize you are more than a conqueror. Sometimes we've got to walk by faith and not by sight. Sometimes you got to bet on you. You got to be willing to be a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller said. Life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. Oh, behave.
So Les, mindset, I mean, we could go on for days on mindset. I think you've shared so many powerful things regarding the mindset.
Yes, the
Let's go.
three-dimensional storytelling, though, it impacts
Yes.
the mind, the heart, your heart-centered voice, and the spirit, the courage
Yes.
to make a new decision, to turn the page and start a new chapter. It's three-dimensional storytelling that we're going to train people on to impact the mind.
And that's going to be hugely powerful. I can just imagine, especially our audience, and obviously the LA Tribune audience is people, new thought leaders, coaches, speakers, trainers, entrepreneurs, leaders, influencers, everybody that follows the LA Tribune. Again, shout out to CEO Mo Rock and Ava Manuel, editor-in-chief. And I'm thinking in terms of our audience, which is in our coaching program, real estate, mortgage, financial services, and network marketing, what you've shared is so powerful in the areas of mindset. So for those of you that are watching this live, please type in the comments, what is your breakthroughs? What's your favorite takeaways thus far from what Les is sharing with you, and how you can use that so you can take it to the bank? So the second piece of what I'd like to get into is a topic, Les, mindset, linguistic language, effective communication, and action, programming and action, is what are the principles that you'd like to share, the best kept secrets? And I know you're going to be training and going much more in depth in this in your 3-day training coming up in a few weeks. What are your skill sets or the best kept secrets that you can share for someone on how language, how they can increase their presentation power so they can take it to the bank? The communication part. So the mindset.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And here's what's happening. Like, there's something you're doing right now.
Yes.
Einstein said, genius is the capacity to make the complicated simple. I never use the languaging that people would have to ask, what do you mean by that? That when you provide information that people have to ask, what do you mean by that? That you've lost them. That the purpose of communication is for people, they want to be able, as they're listening, to relate to you. They want to be able to identify with you, and they want to be able to connect with you. Your languaging style, your content creates that, because you can't correct if you don't connect. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yes. And so what's important is that what allowed me to break through is while people giving information from Think and Grow Rich or neuro-linguistic programming, all of those types of things, what I did, I came out and I told a story about why I do what I do. I'm a foster kid. My goal is to buy a home for my mother. So I caught a story and a reason. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. When you have a story, a compelling story on why you do what you do. When I heard my mother, Mama, why are you clapping your hands? Don't you worry, Les. You just continue to clean that mess up off the floor in the kitchen. And then she came out the room, and Miss Harris, I'm sorry, your hat is not in there. And Miss Harris said to my mother, go down to the other hallway and look in the closet in that room, Amy. And my mother did that. And I heard my mother clapping her hands again. Mama, why are you clapping your hands? Didn't I tell you, listen to me, do what you're supposed to do? And Miss Harris walked over to me and she said, I can tell you why she's clapping her hands, as she looked down on me. And I looked up and I said, why, ma'am? And this is a time that Black people were not allowed to look white people in the eyes. She said, when I have immigrants or colored people working for me and I can't see them in another room looking for something, I make them clap their hands to make sure they're not stealing. At that time, I stood up and I looked her in the eyes and I said, my mother is not a thief. She loves you and she loves your children. She looks forward to working for you. And she looked at me, she was shocked and she walked away. She didn't say anything. And I got back down on that floor and I started scrubbing that floor, and the water and the soap was mixed with my tears. When we went back across the Venetian Causeway on the bus, and Mama asked, what's wrong with you, Leslie? Why are you looking out the window and not saying anything? And I looked at her. She said, you've been crying, son. I said, yes, ma'am. Why? I said, because I want to be a man. You'll be a man long enough, soon enough when you turn 18. I want to be a man now, Mama. Why? Because if I was a man, you would not cook for families that we have to wait until they eat. And then they tell us we can have the leftovers. I'll be able to buy groceries for us. If I was a man, you would not be cleaning other people's homes. I'll buy your home and you'll clean your own home. And if I was a man now, nobody will ever make you clap your hands because they think that you're stealing. That Miss Harris told you that. I said, yes, ma'am. That's why I want to be a man now. I'm from old school, Sakaya. My mama used to say, a man, if your wife got a job and a husband too, one of them got to go. That a man, not a grown boy, provides and protects for his family. And I told Mama, when I turn 18, I will sit you down. You'll never pay another bill. That was a compelling moment, a deciding moment. There's a movie called Touch by Denzel Washington. He said there are moments in life, there's before this and after this. And after this, nothing is ever the same again. And all of us have moments in our lives, moments when we say, I've had it. I'm leaving here. Where are you going? I don't know, but I'm leaving here. All of us have had it where we've been in a relationship where we're dying together rather than living together. And we say, I'm out of here. And this is what the greater work that we are called to do, to override the self-explanatory style, to provide stories of peace. I'll keep thee in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee, of harmony in your sense of spirituality with yourself, with your significant other, with your family, and the work that you're doing, the purpose and the meaning of your work. Joy, not happiness. Happiness is subject to circumstance, but joy, that life be life, but you can have joy because you're living your life from the inside out rather than from the outside in. And love, God is love, and he who dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, God in them.
Les,
Don't come for me. I didn't call an Uber.
Les, when you share your story, like I felt like I was just on the verge of tears. Just you have me on an emotional roller coaster. Some people I meet have a very difficult time. They do, like, for one, they don't feel like they have a story, maybe, to share. And then number two, even if they have a story, they don't, like Gus, like one of my, he's an incredible leader. He's coming to your training. He is, works in construction. He came from nothing and he's built a very successful company. He has a story. All right. And he wants to have such an impact on his community. And so, but he has a story. There's a lot of people that I know that they have a story, but they don't know how to articulate the story.
But also they don't know how to go there, how to not just tell the story, but experience the story. Right. And they don't have to have a down and out story. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a friend named Sakaya, and he had an awakening. He had a serious heart surgery. And he had a doctor who said, after this, you're going to be depressed. And for a period of time, he was. I want you to write this down. Every day we have a chance and we have a choice. And there came a moment that when Sakaya looked at himself, he said, this is not me. Regardless of what the doctor said, he said, this is not me. And he chose to think differently. He chose to take charge of his mind. He chose to create a new narrative for his life. He chose to live his life in a way that generations yet unborn will have stories about him and his courage to live life on his terms.
Wow. Les, can you tell my story? Wow. Okay. Yeah. So Les, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to stretch this question out, play devil's advocate, right? So like you've got a real estate agent or a mortgage professional, and they're selling their, product. They're buyers and sellers of homes, of mortgages, and so forth. How do they incorporate storytelling and helping serve their real estate clients? I'm just curious, because you as an inspirational, transformational speaker and coach, it seems very conducive to sharing stories of overcoming adversity and breaking through turning points. For someone who's a real estate agent, they may think, okay, well, how is me telling my story? How's it going to help the client, the buyers, the sellers of homes? So what advice would you give to those types of entrepreneurs and how they could articulate stories in such a way that will serve the, call it for what it is, sales transactions, so they can take it to the bank, not just only serve the client, but they can also take it to the bank?
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to say to you, and sir, I want to say to you and your wife, you made a good call today. See, because you can go online and you can look at houses online And you have a lot of choices in this distraction economy. But let me tell you why I do this. Because when you make a decision about the house that you're going to live in, to make that a home, when you make that decision, that's major. I've been in your shoes. And my goal is to help you to make a choice that will be a lifetime decision. I'm not here because of the commission. I'm not here because of some type of promotion that's going on right now. I'm here, and I want you to know this, for you. I'm here to help you make an educated decision so that you and your wife will say to yourself, I'm glad we called Sakaya. I know that he has our interests in heart. See, people can smell commission breath.
Mm.
They want to know, do you care about me? Maya Angelou said, people don't know, they don't want to know how much you know. They want to know how much you care. Zig Ziglar said, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. And what they want is your attention. They want to be seen and they want to be respected.
Mm.
When you give them that, you will have them as a customer for a lifetime and referrals from them because of the experience that you created with them, that they trust you and believe in you.
Wow. Les, we've covered mindset, and we could go for days. We've covered communication. You've shared two powerful things, one around storytelling and how to, and then also you've literally demoed it as an example for someone who's in real estate or financial services or network marketing. Let's go to the third topic of the day, which is neuro mindset, linguistic language, effective communication. The last one is action, right? Programming. How does someone in the context of sales, let's say, or someone who's a leader, entrepreneur, influencer, how does someone take massive action, and how do they get rid of the fear, the procrastination, the inaction? What would be your advice on that?
I encourage people to get still and find out why you do what you do. I faced a lot of rejections, a lot of defeats. I used to sleep on the floor of the Penobscot building, 21st floor in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan. One of the people that I trained in Miami recently said, my grandmother told me not to listen to you when I was listening to you on a cassette tape as a teenager. She said, I cleaned the office of that young man. He's a loser. He bathes in the sink down the hall. He hides in the closet when we come to clean his office because he knows he's not supposed to be staying in his office. And the reason that I was able to stay in pursuit of my dream, I had a compelling reason to take care of my mother. I had a compelling reason to be my own boss. I had a compelling reason to do something that was me. I love helping people. I'm the product of somebody seeing me as a person, seeing me beyond what I was doing. Look out, I'm LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction, a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'll be your love man. I used to be a disc jockey. He's gone. Bam! He's gone. And if a man is to gain his life, he must lose his life. You must find something that you can lose your life in, that you love so much that you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Les, is there anything? I have a few more questions relating to your powerful speaking. So if you don't mind, I'm going to divert to that. But I want to ask you, is there anything you wanted to share? Something that you feel is important that you want this audience to hear. If you were to ask yourself a question such that it would convey something that you want to get from your heart to the people, what would that be before I go into my next series of questions with you?
Work on yourself continuously. Never stop learning. Peter Drucker said that we must unlearn because the things that we've learned in the past, this new world order, those things won't serve us. We must unlearn, learn, and relearn. Einstein said the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. This is the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. Focus. Force yourself to focus on what matters in your life, what you value, what gives your life meaning. I like what Dr. Howard Thurman said. He said, don't ask what the meaning of life is. Ask what is the meaning of your life.
Wow. When I asked you the third piece, which is the action, and you went into
you have to have something that drives you.
Values.
All the rejections, I got excited. Make know your vitamin, because I know that there's a no out there with my name on it. And I was not going to disappoint my mother. I was not going to fail. You have to have in your mind a list of your must-haves, things that you must have. This is why you do what you do. You must have this, and you're willing to sacrifice. You're willing to pay the price. You're willing to face no and no again and again and again, because you know those who are top performers know you will fail your way to success. Walter P. Chrysler failed in the automobile industry 49 times. Walt Disney, his first cartoon was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. It was stolen from him by Universal Studios, but that gave birth to Mickey Mouse, the happiest symbol in the world. All adversities, all setbacks, all rejections, all disruptions are pregnant with new possibilities.
Please type in the chat, everybody. Make know your vitamin. Wow. And then your must-have. So you've just answered it. Make know your vitamin and the must-haves. What must you have? So we always talk about the values, right? The values drive your behavior, determine our results. I'm going to ask you 2 questions on this before we get into the next topic. Number 1, what does no mean to you? And how do you transmute that in your head? How does it happen in a moment? I know what we're teaching
No
here.
means to me that the conversation has just gotten started.
I like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm so glad you said no, because what I'm going to share with you right now, you're going to say, thank you for taking the time with me.
Wow. One of the things Muhammad Ali I'm actually dear friends with Dr. Khalila Ali. We have incredible things that we're doing with her and all the heavyweight champions right now. And one of the things that I saw in a video with Muhammad Ali, and what he was saying is he didn't count any reps until it was burning. So in other words, he would do, let's say, 2,000 sit-ups. He wouldn't even count until he was at a point of failure and it was burning. Then he would say, okay, well, that's 1, that's 2. And so you have a relationship with no, which is transmuting it into a door opening and opening up the conversation. That conversation is really just now started. I think that is absolutely phenomenal, Les. The next question is, when you say the must-haves, what drives you? What motivates you to do what you do and inspires you to do what you do on a daily basis, such that you've been doing this for so long and have become a voice of our generation?
Kaya, I must live a life that will outlive me. I made up my mind a long time ago. I'm going to make my life count, mean something to me. When I saw my father's gravesite, there was no tombstone. This man never discovered the truth of who he was. There was no sign that he was ever here. That's the majority of people, because their lives have been so inconsequential. After a week or 2, there are no conversations or stories about them. I want my life to matter. Like Mamie Brown, the woman who adopted me. I said, Dorothy Bell Rucker gave me life. Mamie Brown taught me how to live life. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. I am her legacy. That's why I end my speeches by saying this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, because what she poured into me. And I believe that all of us have a responsibility. We were born to create. We were chosen out of 400 million sperm. Life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. And my goal is to teach people how to make their lives an incredible gift that God will say, I'm glad I gave birth to you. To me, I'm not a religious person. Religious people are afraid of going to hell. Right. I'm a spiritual person. Spiritual people have been there. And hell to me is what you experience when you die and you meet the person that you were supposed to become.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Les, look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. I remember years ago, I think this is our maybe third or fourth interview. I remember asking you questions. I'm curious what you will say today. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions, right? You have an option to answer it in, a matter of seconds, a sentence, or 30 seconds, or a minute, or you can elaborate. I want to give you that, however you choose to. I'm just letting you know, I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions, because something I'm super, super curious about is, as an NLP trainer, neuroscience and neuro-linguistic programming, it's based on the foundation of modeling success, right? People seeing what you do and modeling it. And I know that's what you're teaching in your upcoming boot camp. By the way, for tickets, you will go to lesbrown.com. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to be literally coached, trained in a very small group, where he's literally, Les the GOAT, is giving you one-on-one coaching in the room, helping you directly on your story, your speech, increasing your presentation power so you can take it all the way to the bank. Again, you would go to lesbrown.com, May 31st to June 2nd. My friends will be there. I will be there. And it's called Speak with Power and Passion Training. It is, I will say this is you have to qualify. In other words, you would be either going to the website, filling out the information, or you will be literally reaching out to Dr. Valerie Parker, and the phone number is 954-464-6537. So you want to register and qualify. Les wants to make sure, I don't know, you tell us, what do you want to make sure they're ready for, so that you know that they're the right fit for you in this journey?
The speaking industry has been hijacked by people who speak to sell. I'm looking for people who want to speak to serve.
Wow.
If you make a difference in people's lives, they will want to come to your mastermind. They will want to buy your products. They will want to be a part of your podcast. They will want to be in a room with you. If you make a difference in their lives, where you're not just giving them information, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. When you speak, you want to speak so people don't just hear you, but they feel you in their heart.
Wow.
It's major. That's how people are transformed, in their heart.
That's a breakthrough right there, Les. There are so many speaker trainings in the world. Speak to sell, selling on stage, sell. And I think you just nailed it on the head there. Why is it, when there's so many, and they're great speakers, don't get me wrong, they're incredible speakers, they have so much to offer, so much value to give, why have you risen to the top? To me, I consider you the GOAT. Why have you risen to the top of all speakers globally? By most people recognize you as the GOAT of public speaking, inspirational speaking, transformational speaking, motivational speaking. And that is because your frame of reference is speak to serve, not speak to sell. And the way you just put this, Les, so distinctly in the comparison of those three words, speak to serve rather than speak to sell, really just tells me everything. You're stepping into a completely different aura and way of being, which is why you connect so deeply to people's hearts. So, Les, I just want to thank you for sharing. Those three words were huge for me to hear today. And I know as the audience is listening, and if you're in real estate, you're in mortgage, you're in financial service, you're in network marketing, or if you're even part of the LA Tribune Network and you're a speaker, you're an author, a coach, a new thought leader, what are you stepping into on stage? Because I think there's this unconscious stress or this unconscious agenda. I don't even want to necessarily say agenda like it's a bad thing. There's this unconscious pressure that I need to go on there and I need to perform and I need to sell, and I'm going to be judged by the merit of what I sell today in this group. And what you're saying is, no, come in and serve, and your audience and you will win together at so much of a higher level. And I think that is a breakthrough that so many people in the speakers world need to hear.
Thank you very much. Yes, when you focus on people and you let that be the top focus of what you want to accomplish and the experience you want to orchestrate that will transform them individually and collectively, the money will come.
Question for you. I want to like play devil's advocate, right? Even though that's a bad way of putting it. The devil is just negative thinking to me. I don't even really believe in the devil means per se. Do you believe, is it possible that someone can be speaking to serve and that can diminish their ability to sell? Is there a way they
No,
need to speak?
not at all. Not at all.
Oh.
Because if you make the right impact and they see themselves in your story and the red seas that you've had to cross and the wisdom that you've collected, we've been taught experience is the best teacher. No, wisdom is the best teacher. That as a result of your touching their heart, you're going to expand their mind. But when you touch the heart, you ignite in people the courage to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. Where the heart is, there your treasure is also. A heart-centered presentation. It does incredible things, not only for the audience, but for you and for your revenue.
I think that's your superpower, Les. I think you just nailed it. Where you're coming from is to serve. And I know that it's thrown around casually. Everyone talks, oh, you're here to serve, but no, they're there to serve, and there's an agenda behind it. It seems like for you, it's all pure heart, no agenda, only serving. And I think that is, you mentioned it earlier, people could smell bullshit a mile away. They can smell the agenda. For you, people just feel, for me, you are an angel in this world. You're an angel to humanity.
And I feel the same about you. That's why you're still here.
That's why I'm still here. Exactly. So, okay. So back to what we're going to do. Rapid fire questions. And this is based on neuroscience, neurolinguistic programming, where we're modeling excellence. So I want to, if what I'd like to do is, some people see you as this incredible, unattainable superhero that how could I ever be like Les Brown? Les Brown's like a god, like Mike Tyson made a thing when I enter the ring, I'm like a god. So some people see you like this godlike figure that they don't feel like they can be as great as Les. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to pull the curtain back at this perception of I can't be as great as Les, and I like to pull it back by learning a little bit about Les's mindset so that we can start.
First of all, Sakaya, you can't see it unless it's in you. What they see in me, it's in themselves.
Boom.
We're cut from the same cloth. Certain people hear me. Certain people feel me, but the majority does not. I'm for a few people. The road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it. 9 out of 10 people will die rather than change.
Wow.
We're not going to get everybody. There's a book called Change or Die by Alan Dushman. It was a study done in the cardiology department. People had recurring heart attacks, and they gave them a program to follow. And they said, if you follow this program, you won't have a recurring heart attack that will kill you. In 90 days, 9 out of 10 of them went back to doing what they were doing before. Most people will die rather than change.
Wow.
So what we are doing, it's not for everybody. It's for the elite, for those who are hungry.
Hungry.
Yes, those who are hunger and thirst after righteousness, right thinking, right words, right alignment, right relationships shall be filled. You got to be hungry. There are some must-haves, some things that you say, I've got to have this. It's a non-negotiable. And you're willing to sacrifice. You're willing to discipline yourself. There's certain things that's off limits for you. You're willing to do what's required to make it happen. A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do.
Wow. Les, I know you and I have talked about this briefly once before. I'm a big proponent in the Course in Miracles. I've studied for many years, and then I work closely with Marianne Williamson. I went through her program, so I'm a miracle-minded coach as well. And it's interesting because in the Bible, it talks about only few are chosen, right? Whereas the Course in Miracles says, wait a minute, let's correct that. It's not only few are chosen, all are chosen, but very few answer to the call.
Yes. Most people will not answer the call. They'll put it on hold. No. And because they are distracted by the noise of the world, the call comes in your heart, that still small voice within. The call comes after midnight.
Boom.
Or when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're listening to the beat of your heart. That's when the call comes.
That's when the call comes. Another thing, Les, the Course in Miracles, you mentioned it a little earlier. And Marianne also says this. It's the idea of enlightenment and the idea of how do we become enlightened? And it says you don't become enlightened by learning something new. We all think we need to learn something new. It says you could become enlightened by unlearning what you learned that doesn't work and replacing it. So I think that's what you're doing. Is you talked about it earlier, helping people break through, get rid of the junk that's not supposed to be in their mind so they can step through. Anything you want to share on that?
Yes. Well, it's a combination of they go hand in hand. You must unlearn and relearn to become enlightened. Because there are things that we just don't know at certain stages in our lives. And certain things that you must experience in order to discover the next greatest version of yourself. There's a quote I love that in life you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. Wow. Had I not been fired from radio, I would not have become a community activist. I would not have become a state legislator and was elected for 3 terms. And I retired to go back to Miami to buy my adopted mother a home. Had I not been fired from something that I love and did very well, I would not have spoken in the Georgia Dome that people can see on YouTube. Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. It's not over until you win. Helen Keller said that when one door closes, many other doors open, but most people spend time talking about and focus on the closed door. They don't see the open doors that's available to them.
Wow. I'm loving this. Okay, Les, rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yes.
All right. I invite you to share a sentence, a 30 seconds, a metaphor, anything you want to do. I'm just going to give them to you. So again, what we're doing is pulling the curtain back, and you gave me a huge breakthrough there. If they see this greatness in you and like, I don't know how I can be like Les, the first breakthrough is they wouldn't see that greatness in you if they didn't have it within themselves. That's the breakthrough there. All right. So first question, what motivates you, Les?
I aspire to inspire until I expire.
As you're hearing Les answer these questions, I'm going to invite the audience to step into modeling Les. So it's going to be different. I don't want us just to hear what he's saying to learn about Les. I want us to hear how Les responds to these questions and step into that mindset ourselves, because we will learn how he thinks, what his belief systems are about himself and the audience, and what's his model of the world, that model that has helped him be the legend and the icon and the go-to speakers. So first question, second question, you answer the first one. Second question, what drives you, Les?
I want to live a life that matters. I want to live a life of contribution. I want people who hear stories about me, my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, that he stood for something. When I was in radio, I used to say, stand up for what you believe in, because you can fall for anything. And I believe all of us were born for greatness. We were chosen and born and preserved for such a time as this, that we are unrepeatable miracles. We were chosen out of 400 million sperm to bring something to the world that was not here before we showed up.
Amazing. Les, what inspires you?
Seeing people discover the newness of life as they go within, and to realize that they can master their kingdom. The Jewish carpenter said, when he was demanded when the kingdom of God shall come, he said, the kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, it's neither lo there or lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And that kingdom is voice activated. So when we speak, and when they hear other speakers, and when they are exposed to other positive people going in the direction of where they're going, and the light comes on, and they step out of their history and step into their imagination and begin to live the life they were chosen to live. That turns me on. Yes. Yes. Yes.
What do you value most? What is most important to you in life?
Time. People say that time is money. Time is life. Focusing on maximizing each moment, each minute that we're given, and using it to the best of our ability to speak light where there's darkness, to bring hope where there's despair, to help people to realize greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. That turns me on.
What emotions do you feel when you hit the stage? This is important for people that, whether you're going in real estate to give that listing presentation and you're nervous, this is important for a speaker that's going to get on stage, that's now going to serve an audience. What emotions do you feel, and what thoughts are going on in your head right before you go on stage, Les?
Before I go on stage, I say to myself, more of thee, less of me. Continuously. I don't let people interrupt me. I get still and I get quiet. More of thee, less of me. Use me today as a channel. Get my ego out of the way. Wow. And speak to the hearts of the people that's in the audience. Use me as your channel on this day.
More of thee and less of thee. More of thee and less of me. Wow. Yes. I'm loving this. What do you believe about yourself, Les, when you're up there? And what do you believe about the audience?
I got this. And they are with me. We're going on a journey together, because this thing called life, it's a roller coaster. Sometimes things are well, sometimes they are not well. Whatever we're going through, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. And our journey together, me and the audience, is to experience the roller coaster. Helen Keller said, life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. And our goal is to make it a daring adventure to live life that gives their life a sense of meaning and purpose.
Amazing. What behaviors, what habits do you feel more than anything, maybe the top 1 or 2 or 3, that have helped you, propelled you to become what I would say is the GOAT, the legend that you are today in transforming lives? What behaviors?
Hunger, discipline, and relentlessness. Being relentless. Don't stop. Even a broke clock is right twice a day.
I love
Don't
it.
come for me. I didn't call an Uber.
Next question. What strategies, and I'm not sure even if you have them, that you're literally thinking about in the context of serving when you're on stage?
Absolutely.
What
When I'm on
strategies
stage,
do you have?
absolutely. I'm going to ask some strategic questions.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you have goals that you want to achieve? I want you to think about those goals right now. And I ask them that question so that they'll get out of their current history and begin to envision the life that they see for themselves. And then I say to them, shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you have greatness in you. And the reason I'm doing that now, I have them in their imagination. Now they're physically engaged in this story to create a committed listening. So I'm going to share with you right now, that which you see, I want you to assume it has already happened. And the steps that I will go through right now is to help you to realize that all accomplishments happen twice. First in the mind and then in the without. So let's now go to the steps of manifesting what you now see.
Wow.
And now they're on the same page as you.
And what I love about these answers you're giving, Les, is someone in real estate or in mortgage or financial services or network marketing, even the greater LA Tribune audience, speakers, coaches, authors, new thought leaders. How can you apply this as you're hearing Les's answers? How can you tap into this in your specific context of your life, your career, and especially as a leader? Because we're here at Leadership Week, and it's about celebrating leaders and celebrating their leadership, their philanthropy, humanitarian work they're doing in the world. So really tune into what he's sharing and see how you can implement this in your life and your business. Next question. What are you focused on when you're up there on stage transforming lives?
I was just listening to what you're saying, the people that are listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm focused on right now is one thing, and that is for them to see what I see.
Wow.
I have an expanded vision of what I see. I see them differently than how they see themselves. So I'm looking for them to see themselves through my eyes as I look at them, as I use quotes and statistics, my body language, my facial expression, the modulation of my voice, my conviction, my passion.
Wow.
You got this. You're more than a conqueror. No. You're thinking about suicide. You're thinking about taking the life that God gave you. You're spitting in the face of God. When you look at that as an option, a permanent solution for a temporary situation. A guy who heard my voice and went out in the woods and had a gun up to his head, and when he pulled the trigger back, he heard me say, life is God's gift to you, and how you live your life is your gift to God. He unloaded the gun, he started crying, and he got back in his car, and he went for a long drive. His wife had left him for his best friend. He'd lost his job, and he was suffering from prostate cancer like I was. And he was told, as I was, now you're going to be less than a man. And he felt like he had nothing to live for. But he said in that moment, when he had the gun up to his head, He heard me say, you got to be hungry to live. You've got to decide that your life has meaning and purpose, that you're worthy of the best that life has to offer, that you're here for a reason. And that moment in the thick of the forest, he heard my voice with new ears. And now he's speaking.
Wow.
Now we share the stage together. And when he told me the story, I broke down, I started crying like a little baby.
Oh my
I
God.
was so grateful, tears of gratitude that God had used me as a channel to save his life.
Wow. That's incredible, Les. I know that. So here's a question. I think a lot of people are dealing with negative thinking, right? They've got these negative self-talk. I know that when I heard Mike Tyson share his story about when he was in the room training or getting ready to walk out to Madison Square Garden and to get in the ring, he would cry. He had fear. He had, this man I'm finally going to meet the person that's going to beat me. And then what he talked about is, as he started to walk to the ring, that fear started to transmute into confidence. And then by the time he walked in the ring and he went under the rope and he came in the ring, he walked in and he's like, now I'm a god. I'm curious, because you're human, right, Les? Right? We got to make sure. Are you human? I know you're human. Do you have negative thoughts? Do you have negative self-talk?
When I was called on to speak at the Georgia Dome, they had to come get me out of the restroom. They knocked on the door. I locked myself in the bathroom, and my mentor, Mike Williams, who wrote the book called The Road to Your Best Stuff, he says, Brownie, they're waiting on you. They're stalling. I said, Mike, I can't hear the voices. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I can't hear the voices. I said, did you see how many people are out there? I've never spoken to 80,000 people before. He said, are you listening to me? I said, yes. Can you hear my voice? I said, yes. He said, are you scared? I said, yes. He said, do it for your mama. What? Do it for your mama, man. You know how proud she's going to be? She could tell the neighbors, my boy spoke in the Georgia Dome. Oh, Mike, don't use my mama on me. Come on, Brown, open the door. Oh, God. You can do this. You can do this. And here's what I realized, Sakaya. Sometimes you have to have somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. When you speak to people and you're saying, I see you doing this, you're greater than what has happened to you. It's important that you have goals and dreams bigger than your circumstances, bigger than your fears, bigger than your abuse. You're a masterpiece, an unrepeatable miracle. It's a reason for you being here at this point in time. They're hanging on to each word that you're speaking, Sakaya, until their faith is activated and it releases a hunger in their heart, and a drive and a passion to live life again.
Wow. Wow. Les, what makes you, if you're able to articulate this, I know sometimes I have a challenge in seeing what I do when I do it that works. So maybe you're much more self-aware than I am. What makes you one of the best, if not the best, communicators the world has ever seen?
Well, people say that, but here's what my mother taught me: self-praise brings no recommendation. Here's what I came up with. Everybody else was talking about, you do this, this, and this. You read Think and Grow Rich and you'll be successful. I talked about my failures, my disappointments, bathing in the sink down the hall at the Penobscot building, sleeping on the floor of my office, losing the first home that I purchased for my mother and went into foreclosure because I didn't do a title search. I was transparent and people saw themselves in me. I talked about going through a divorce from someone that I love very much.
Wow.
And so when you are courageous enough to be vulnerable, and I'm like the lady, I say to them, who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be. I ain't what I'm going to be. Thank God, I sure ain't what I was.
Wow.
And so people feel they can relate, they can identify, they feel a connection, and they can say, I was there too. And you got through that. If you can get through it, I can get through it. We create the want to.
Incredible. Another question, and it may be the same answer, Les. Again, because we have a lot of salespeople, leaders, influencers, entrepreneurs that are watching this. What makes you, do you believe, what superpower, what skill set makes you the most incredible salesperson? You've sold, probably garnered hundreds of millions of dollars at this point in product and services. What would you say is the single biggest secret, or the single biggest, and maybe it's not a secret, maybe it's just a way of being that's helped you be able to achieve that in the world?
Stay humble.
Humility.
Humility is very important.
Mm.
That everything we do, Sakaya, can be taken away just like that. I'm working with a man who was a top executive, engineer, CEO when he started his own business. Woke up one morning, blind.
Boom.
Changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
Changed his life. Quincy Jones had a song years ago, everything must change. Nothing stays the same. I'm grateful that I'm still here, that I'm a 39-year fourth stage prostate conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. And I'm grateful that I can still serve. And trust me, it's better to be seen than to be viewed.
Exactly. So Les, we're gonna be wrapping up momentarily. I would like to invite our team, if we can tee up Les's video, and I have a surprise for all of you. You're going to be seeing and meeting the editor-in-chief of the LA Tribune. The reason why we're all here, Ava Manuel will be joining us momentarily to say hi to Les. And I don't know if our team can give us thumbs up if we have the availability of Les's video. Again, we are all going to be live in Atlanta with Les Brown, taking his Speak with Power and Passion training. And it is, I'm going to let the video speak for itself. For tickets, well, actually, you just can't just get a ticket. You actually have to apply. You got to register and you got to qualify, because there's a very small group of people, and we want to make sure that you're ready for this. So you would go to lesbrown.com. You can also contact Dr. Valerie at 954 area code 464. So please type it in the chat, 954-464-6537. I love Dr. Valerie. She's incredible. She will literally have a conversation with you, learn a little bit about who you are, what story is that you have that you want to share and impact the world with. And hopefully you would be blessed, to be in that training, exclusive training that happens very infrequently. So with that being said, do we have a video that we can play, a 2-minute video? Do we have a thumbs up from our team? Momentarily. And we have the editor-in-chief here, Ava Manuel.
Hello, Les.
Hello.
What an honor.
Thank you.
I just sat on your masterclass with all of the notes that I've taken from you and Kaya's conversation. We're gonna have a commercial, and when we come back, we'll share with you the amazing video from Les Brown. So we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
All right. So, Les, we are going to edit the video and bring it in live when we go live so that everyone hears it. So no worries on that.
No, I know. Ava is there, so all is well.
All Ava's there, yes. So let's welcome to the incredible interview with the GOAT of GOATs, Les Brown, the amazing, life-changing. I mean, I would say she's the rock. Right? She's the rock of the LA Tribune. She's the our editor-in-chief of the Los Angeles Tribune newspaper. Ava Manuel, you are flying all over the world, changing the world. I know that there isn't a single day that our CEO, Mo Rock, isn't praising you with tremendous amount of grace. I know you've written some notes. Any thoughts you want to share as we wrap up our first interview with Les today, and then we'll wrap up with Les as well.
First, the only thing that I actually want to say, Les, is I honor you. You have been an inspiration to me personally. I always believe that I was born to speak on stage. I was given to a mom who was very violent and abusive, but the only thing that she really trained me on was to speak on stage from age 3. And every year, she trained me to speak on stage, declaiming, orating, competing until the age of 21. And I've always looked up to you. I haven't quite stepped on that
Well, I'm going to work with you. We're going to share the stage together. Yes, don't worry. You should not have told me that. No, I'm going to be on you now. Yes, you're supposed to do that. That's a calling on your life, and I will help you to bring your power voice out.
And that's why in the Los Angeles Tribune, Les, I said we will serve you. We at the Business Solutions, whatever it is that you need to elevate your master class, your speaking out in the world in a greater proportion, we're here to serve you. And that's what I just wanted to say. Thank you, Les.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, Ava. Everything that LA Tribune is doing is much to all the hard work and the effort of not just yourself as our editor-in-chief, the hard work of CEO. Let's give another shout out to our incredible CEO of LA Tribune, Mo Rock. Let's give some love also to Alicia Magnus Lewis, Jim Miller, Rex Sykes. And honestly, there's probably hundreds of people. We have, as you know, this leadership week, over 200 speakers. And I'm just so honored to have you, Les, with us. I'm going to be there with you at your training. My friends are joining. Is there anything else as we part? Is there anything else you want to share with our audience today that we haven't talked about that's on your heart?
Well, I just say that this is an incredible time. It's a special place in history. And I do believe that all things work together for good, for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And that we are going to get through this because of the kind of work that you've been doing, because of the legacy of the Los Angeles Tribune, providing information that will give people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. I believe this: shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Bye for now.
Bye for now. So with that being said, please, if you're interested, you can register and qualify. You will be interviewed by Dr. Valerie. Go to lesbrown.com. You can click attend the event. You can read up all about the information about the event. You're going to be literally trained by the legend on how to have even greater visibility. Number one. Number two, increased earning potential. Number three, sharpen your communication skills and presentation skills. Number four, increase your visibility with your story. Get unstuck. That's interesting. Get unstuck and unstacked. Get all those stacks, all your greatness out there in the world. Bring your message to the stage. Define your cutting edge story. How to make money with your story, the business of speaking and the art of speaking, all that, and an intimate setting with the one, the only, the GOAT, Mr. Les Brown. By the way, Mr. Les Brown, I think we have another award that we would like. I'm gonna connect with our CEO and Ava, because I think if you have,
well, what you don't know is we've already awarded the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh,
West. Yeah, so on another interview, we have presented the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from the office of President Biden. So I am very, very excited because it's so well deserved, Les. From the office of the President and AmeriCorps, the President's Volunteer Service Award Lifetime Achievement, honoring the most outstanding volunteer and recognizing the impact that they make. Les, thank you so much. One of the things that I want to say is, you've battled cancer and you're here with us. And I don't take that lightly. And I hope that the people who are, hearing this, and being invited to join Les, don't take that lightly. You still had a purpose that you had to accomplish in this earth, and that's why you're here with us. And I am thrilled that we were given all a second chance to still be able to receive from your gift, to be able to receive from the gifts that came with your journey, that came with your calling, that came with your fight, and we're just delighted to be a stage for you here at the Los Angeles Tribune. Thank you, Les. And thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Yes. Thank you, Les.
Yes. Yes.
As you're watching this, please type in the chat, what is your takeaways? What are 3 things that Les shared today, whether it's mindset, whether it's around communication, whether it's about taking action, that are your breakthrough moments, your turning moments, your takeaways? Please put in the chat. And then we absolutely loved how you shared, Les, how to increase your presentation power so you can take it to the bank. And again, if you want to learn more how to do that and be privately coached within a very small group of individuals in Atlanta on May 31st to June 2nd, go to lesbrown.com. With that being said, God bless my brother. I look forward to sharing the stage with you, even though as I'm there, I'm in awe being in your presence. Thank you so much, Les, for your inspiration and what you have meant to me and to so many others and what you mean to the LA Tribune. And let's continue to change the world and beyond. Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate both of you very much. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.